Hello guys, welcome to the Trading Parrot. I think we all agree that TradingView is a must-have tool for anyone doing serious trading, or even if you're just gonna stick with long-term investing. But one thing that people don't realize very often is that TradingView is not just a stock screener, a great crypto screener, or an endless collection of crazy indicators. It also offers something called strategies. Today, I want to focus on strategies. In this channel, you know how much we love setting up trading bots. But what if I told you that you can actually connect any TradingView strategy and use it as a signal to trigger your bots on 3commas? People actually pay hundreds of dollars for paid signals when they actually cannot even access the backtest and confirm by themselves if the robot is going to do what it promises. In this video, I want to focus on how you can find great strategies on TradingView and pick one and connect it to 3commas. We're going to do the amendments necessary to get the whole setup working. And at the end of the video, you're going to see one strategy coming from TradingView signaling a bot on 3commas on paper trading. This is the Trading Parrot. In this channel, I focus on mainly 4 areas: building a growth portfolio on Trading 212, building a social portfolio on eToro, crypto and automated trading bots on 3commas and ProQuant. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and select the notification bell so you get notified every time we post a video. In order to get notified of our buy and sell signals, make sure you join our Discord server. All people joining before we hit 1,000 YouTube subscribers will benefit from lifetime access to all the channels, including the buy, sell signals, and the top performing bots. And if you're interested in getting some extra premium content, have a look at our Patreon and Fiverr accounts where you can find all the one-to-one dedicated support and help via Zoom calls that you can imagine. You can find all the links in the description below. Okay guys, so let's get started. How do you find strategies on TradingView and which ones can you use for 3commas? That's the first thing we're going to be looking into. So let's say you want to use a strategy that is based on RSI indicator, just as an example. The first thing you need to do is write RSI here in the search box and select scripts. Okay, and then you're gonna find loads of results because RSI is very popular. But can you use any of these things on 3commas to trade? Not necessarily. First of all, we need to filter this by strategies only. We don't want indicators, and the reason is indicators won't provide us with backtests, neither is gonna allow us to set up alerts or any of the things that are needed in order to control 3commas remotely. So we need first to filter out by strategies only. Now that we have strategies, we can cherry pick one that we like. For example, RSI algo strategy. Let's have a look at this one. This one has multiple entries we can see here, and it's got the back test. As I told you, if you use strategies, you can have access to see what were the entries of the strategy, and not just that, it will show you the back test along with the performance, the drawdown, how many trades it made. You can see on which chart it's being used on the 2-hour. It gives you all the other extra things that the indicator is just that. It's an indicator. It won't necessarily help you to connect it to 3commas. So that's the first step. Now that you have this here, let's say this strategy, you fall in love with it, you really want to use it, you think that it's going to be awesome. There's lots of comments of people, why not trying it out? So in order to try it out, the first thing we need to do is we copy the name, we go to the chart on the symbol that we want to use. In this case is Bitcoin. We go to indicators, we search by the name of the strategy that we found, which is exactly this one, and we click on it, and now we can see two things. The strategy has been added to the chart, with colors, with all the entries, and we can see also the performance here. We can change the chart to 1 hour. We can see how the performance is changing depending on the different time frame that you're using. It seems to be better on the 1 hour. On the 5 minute is not great. And also you can look at this on this tab, list of trades. The top one is always the first one that it opened. So look at the timing. If I go with 1 hour, the testing starts from beginning of 2019. On 5 minute, it starts from last month. So things can be very dramatically different. So don't get confused when, for example, you see that on the 5 minute is giving 2%, and on the 1 hour is giving you, I don't know, 7%. It's much more. Okay, let's use 1 hour. Well, not necessarily. You first need to compare, for the same length. So this one is more than a year running, and the other one is 1 month. So it's not necessarily more always wins. You need to consider all the variables that are applying to the backtest, especially the length of it. So once we have now this strategy here, what's next? Before that, I don't like this strategy necessarily, so I don't want to use this particular one. So I'm going to get rid of it. How do I get rid of it? So I click here on X, and now it's gone. The one that we're going to be using is one that I added from before. It's based on Bollinger Bands, and I believe it's much better than the one before. You can see what I'm talking about here. This is 600%. Before we have like 7%. This one is much better, in my opinion. I'm not making this video to sell you the strategy. This strategy is live, anyone can use it. It's just that I prefer, to do in the video something slightly more successful. So I found this one randomly. There's plenty of them. You can find hundreds of profitable strategies, and you're welcome to try them. This one, I have added it to my chart, but I also did 2 more things. I actually I added it to the chart. I hit on source code. The source code appear here, and when you just add it from someone else, the strategy, you notice that you won't be able to edit this. So what do you do if you cannot edit the code? We won't be able to set up the alerts and all that stuff. Well, you have to make a copy. Once you make a copy and you give it a name, you're going to have the new copy here in the editor. But the one that is appearing on the chart at that point in time is still going to be the strategy that you imported that is only read-only, and therefore it's not the one that we're going to be editing. So once you have the code here, and once you have your copy and you can edit, get rid of it from here, edit it here in the editing box, and once you finish editing, click on Add to Chart. Once you do that, the one that you gave a different name is going to appear in the chart, and it's going to be exactly the one that you are editing. That's key for us. We need to edit it. For example, I made a few amendments. I changed some things in the initial version. For example, I got rid of all the shorting. I don't want to short Bitcoin at this point in time. I wanted to make sure that this will never short. So I got rid of that code. That's just as an example. But having said that, once we finish the strategy, we are still not ready to go. We cannot, with a strategy, set up alerts. If you go here and you select the strategy, you will notice that there is not separate event that you can select for the open and for the sell. And that's really bad. We need to sort out that thing. The way I sorted this out is I turn the strategy, I make a copy of my strategy into a study. And so let me show you how I do that. So I hit here again, make a copy. And this time I'm going to give a name like study instead of strategy. Once you save it in a separate file, and it appears with a new name, you are going to make some amendments. So I have done that before, so I'm going to just show you the code, how it looks. You can notice here that I have the strategy at the top. So this is the strategy if I unhide, and this one here is the study. They look different, and they also have different properties. So if I look now, if we focus now on what changes I made on the strategy, look at the difference on the code. Here there's a strategy, and on this one the strategy code is commented out, and instead of that I have study with a new name, overlay true, and that's what I changed to turn it into a study. There's something else I changed at the end of the script. Every time you find something that says strategy in the code of what we want to turn into a study, you comment out the code. For example, this was like this. It was saying, here's where I buy and I sell. But if you leave that code there, Pine is going to complain. It's going to say, this is no longer a strategy. You just declared that this is a study, so you cannot call these lines here. Just comment them out. You don't need them anymore in the study copy that you made. Instead of that, what we will add is these two lines, which are alert conditions. This is exactly what we need to set up our alerts. We're going to add two lines. And what do we use as a signal trigger? Exactly what was being used before for triggering here the buy and the sell. So the long signal, the short signal is exactly what I'm using here. That's all you need. And for the title and the message, you just give something that you can remember, you can recall once we are creating the alerts that you gave that name. For example, BB long open and BB long close. The message doesn't really matter. And this part here is just a code that I'm using to have some visualization of the study. So let's bring this back here. So you see these green and red labels, that this code here does that exactly. And why am I adding that if my strategy already has the entry and the price? Well, because now, since I have two separate scripts, one is my study and one is my strategy, I want to make sure that they are always in sync, that they are always opening and closing at the same times. For example, now if I want to edit the strategy, so if I want to edit the strategy, this is the strategy, and I want to change this parameter from 55 to 100, and suddenly the strategy opens in completely different places, and I save it. I want to also make the same changes to the study. Why? Because the study is the one that is going to trigger the alerts that we are going to connect to 3commas. So now that you understand that we have two separate scripts, that one is a strategy, one is a study, and the next thing we need to do is connect it to 3commas. So how do we do that? Well, we first need to set up a bot on 3commas. That's pretty simple. You just hit create bot here, and it's going to take you to this screen. I have already one prepared for you. You're going to give it a name. In this case, I call it test BB. It's on the paper account, paper trading. I selected the same symbol, BTC. It's a long with quote, $1,000. It doesn't really matter. This number, the safety order, ignore it. We are not going to use DCA. So dollar cost average. This one really matters. We need to select here TradingView custom signal. This is exactly what is going to enable this bot to listen to TradingView. So we need to select this one, and that's the only one that you need. You need to make this profit as high as possible, because our bot is the one that's going to decide when to close. We don't want to close on a high profit, on a profit of 5%. The bot could do 17%. So we need to keep it high to allow the strategy to control when to sell. We don't need stop loss, we don't need safety trades, we don't need anything here below, and that's all you need. You save it, and then you make sure that it's running. So how do you take that? You go here to the bot, and it should say stop. If it says stop, means it's running. And also in the log, you can see here that it's been enabled from before. After we've done that, we have the 3commas site ready for connecting things. So how are we going to connect things? We have a strategy and a study. Which one we're going to connect? We're going to connect the study, because on the study is where we have the alerts. These alerts that we created here are the ones that are going to appear in the alert. So if you select alert here, and then you click on new alert, you're going to see that we have the strategy, and here we have the study, which we called BB. And here we need to select now. Now you are going to evaluate where we did all this thing. You can see that BB long open is appearing here, which means that we are going to get alerted by that condition. We need to select once per bar close. Make sure you don't forget that. We don't want to be opening multiple deals in the same bar. We need to wait until it closes. Then here you can find this URL everywhere on the web. It's a single URL for the webhook. That is what this alert is going to call this URL. And we need to make sure that here we give the right message to 3commas, so 3commas can do exactly what you want, which is place an open deal. And where do we find what we put in this message? We go here to the page of the newly created bot, and the first line here is called message for deal start signal. You hit that line and it gets copied. It copies the content of this code. You bring here that code, you paste it here, and that's all you need. You give it a name, long open. We are doing an open. And you hit create. After that, it should appear here on the menu of your alerts. Now we need to create another alert to close the deal. That's why we created two separate alert conditions. We select again the study. We select the close once per bar. Make sure you select, all the alert conditions. Actually, the only one that is really needed is the webhook. If you remove the webhook, this thing won't work at all. The email pop-up and the sound and all those things are optional for you. We go back to the page and we select message to close all deals at market price and stop the bot. Actually, we don't want to stop the bot. We message to close all deals at market price. That's the one that we want. We paste this here. Notice it says close at market price all. That means that we're doing it correctly. Now we hit create, and it should appear here on the list of alerts. And guys, this is all you need to start the robot. Now you're probably asking yourself, if we have now a study, which is, one of these, and we also have a strategy, and I want to make some few amendments to the strategy to make it more profitable, or something was working not right and I want to change it, which one am I going to edit? And the answer is both. So first you hit the code of your strategy, this symbol here, source code, and let's say you need to change something. This 55 was 60. Once you save it, you hit save, and then you look at the strategy tester with this enable. You see still profitable, or even more profitable, hopefully. And once you're happy, you need to do the same changes that you did here. So this 55, you turn it into 60. You need to go to the code of your study and change this 55 to 60 as well. It's mandatory that you do that. If you miss to do those synchronize, the changes in the two scripts, it's gonna become really weird, because the strategy is going to perform better, but the one that is driving the alerts is the study, so it won't reflect the improvements. So make sure you don't forget that. And the last thing that you cannot forget is, once you make all those changes, I suggest that you delete the 2 alerts that we created and you create new ones. I'm not 100% convinced that once you make changes to the study that the alerts reflect those changes. So let me know in the comments if you know the answer to that. But in my case, since I started, every time I make changes, I get rid of the alerts, I create new ones. But it could be that it tracks the changes, but I'm not very confident it does. So guys, as you can see, it's pretty straightforward. You just have, to find now, go there, go mental if you want, find all the strategies, see which ones are better. Let me know in the comments if you find amazing strategies and how they are working for you on 3commas. At the moment, I'm testing around 10 different strategies. Make sure you subscribe the video, you hit the notification bell, and you hit like, because in the next weeks I'm gonna be sharing how my bots are performing. And yeah, that's it. Thanks very much for watching the video. Have a good one.